Welcome to the world of boxing.
2 метра 13 сантиметров, при весе 140 килограмм. Это самый большой чемпион мира в истории бокса. Он провел 52 поединка на профессиональном ринге. В 50 одержал победу. Речь идет об россиянине Николае Валуеве, или, как его называли фанаты, «Каменная голова», Коля Кувалда, «Зверь с Востока» или «Русский гигант». И сегодня мы узнаем
His history in boxing. Nikolai Valuev was born August 23, 1973 in a town near Leningrad, Krasnoye Selo. From a young age, he stood out noticeably among his peers. I remember exactly that in 6th grade, I'm 5 feet 6 inches. 6th grade? In the 6th. You get it now, don't you? It's fine. For first class, 6 feet. My height is more of a genetic anomaly in the family than something so familially transmitted. His parents wanted to give Nikolai to military schools, but having weighed the prospects, took him to the Leningrad College of Sports Reserve, where Valuev took up first basketball, and then track and field, medal discus and shot put, where he fulfilled the standards of Master of Sports.
The impression, of a kindly little man has stayed with us in our memory. Everybody remembers him, the cooks, the teachers, the educators.
Nikolai graduated from the Leningrad Sports Boarding School in 92nd. The 19-year-old had few prospects in his major. There was no money, so he decided to get at least some work. In texture and size, he was a perfect fit for the position. Bouncer and restaurant, which is where he got the job after working there for 6 months. At the age of 20, Nicholas first became interested in boxing. You had to overcome fear every time you stepped into the ring. Now that was great, that's what I like. But his too big body did not want to obey Valuev, and he had to work for two to reach at least some level. I had a hard time working out, and a hard time always, for as long as I can remember, getting my body to move even a little bit faster. In October 93, Valuev went to the fight against American John Morton, whom he defeated in the second round. This fight would later turn out to be a major setback for Nicholas. The thing is that in '94 in St. Petersburg there was a competition called Goodwill Games, such an analog of the Olympic Games. Nikolai was on the Russian national team and even had a couple of fights at this tournament. But suddenly he's disqualified and removed from the competition. It turned out that that fight in Germany against John Morton was recognized as a professional fight, and Valuev was already considered a professional. When the German delegation for the Goodwill Games arrived, they saw me and an instant disqualification followed. My dream of the Olympics is over. Thus, Valuev, without any amateur experience, began to perform in the professional ring. He has held his performances all over the planet. Russia, Australia, Germany, Japan, England, America. And from everywhere he brought to his native Peter only victories, and his menacing image struck fear into most opponents. I was talking at school, he told me that there was an incident where he was put a rival in the same hotel, and when the rival saw him, then left. And he didn't show up for the weigh-in. By 2002, he had established himself in all the most prestigious rankings, and it seemed serious falling out with his manager, who imposed on him a contract with American promoters that Valuev didn't like, but he signed it. After that, Nikolai's trainer persuaded him not to go to America, promising to organize big fights in Russia. Meanwhile, in the States, fights had already been scheduled and money had been invested in promoting the bouts. All this turned out that in 2002 they were sued, and in 2003 Valuev was deprived of his boxing license and excluded from all ratings. Nikolai Valuev severed all ties with the people that promoted him, and was one step away from depression. But suddenly there was a chance to sign a contract with German promoter Wilfried Sauerland, who hired lawyers and managed to restore the license for Nikolai. From this moment began a new turn in the career of Valuev, before which opened up new opportunities and new horizons. For his first championship fight against John Ruiz. The WBI title was on the line. The legendary Muhammad Ali was also present at this fight, which means the fight was destined for attention. Throughout the fight, Ruiz was unable to get past Nikolai's jab, but when he was able to get to close range, the much more dimensional Valuev was not always quick to readjust, missing punches. As a result, statistically, Valuev was more accurate on jabs and Ruiz was more accurate on power punches. In a relatively even fight, the victory was given to Nikolai Valuev, making him the tallest and heaviest world champion in history, as well as the first Russian heavyweight to win the championship belt.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. We can congratulate us for having a world title.
He defended his belt 3 times against Owen Beck, Mant Barnett and Jamal McLean. All ahead of schedule, but in April 2007 he suffered his first defeat in his career from the boxer from Uzbekistan Ruslan Chigayev. Why aren't you drinking? Why are you resting? You're gonna make me fucking coil if you don't get my ass handed to me. I'm gonna jump on your head here, I'm gonna fucking leave in the act. After this fight, Nikolai changed his coach. Alexander Zimin became his trainer and started his way to regain the title. The rematch with Chigayev was postponed several times and eventually derailed. Chigayev was declared the inactive champion and the interim belt was played out by Valuev and John Ruiz. This fight was pretty much the same as their first fight. Ruiz was unlucky again. In a close fight, Nikolai Valuev won by unanimous decision.
To the winner by split decision and new WBA heavyweight champion from Russia with love.
Thus, Nikolai Valuev became a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. That same 2008, he would go up against ring legend Evander Holyfield and get a controversial majority decision victory. And then almost a year later would lose the title to David Haye.
In 2009-10, Valiev underwent surgeries on his shoulder, hand and knee joints, but continued to train.
В 2009-10 годах Валуев перенес операции на плече, кисти руки, коленных суставах, но продолжал тренироваться.
There was information about a possible fight with Vitaly Klitschko. Meanwhile, doctors diagnosed the athlete with a benign brain tumor. After the surgery in early 2011, Valuev announced his retirement from professional sports. In the professional ring, Nikolai Valuev had 52 fights, of which he won 50 victories. And even though he wasn't extremely agile, moving my big, huge body, it's always been hard for me. Big, slow. All nerve signals travel through it at speed. Smaller, yes, it's not really a Moscow Street, Petersburg Express. Still, he managed to become a two-time world champion and leave his mark on boxing history. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell to watch the latest episodes first. See you soon.